Hello brand owners, in this video we're going to be covering how to create a high converting pop-up that converts 10 to 15% of site visitors at a minimum. This is going to be the ultimate guide on lead capture for e-commerce, and we're going to be talking about how to double your pop-up submit rate overnight. Literally overnight. We've done this countless times for some of our new clients that come in. We've revamped their pop-up and instantly seen that pick up. So that's exactly what we're going to be covering in this video here today. All right, so first things first, just a bit of proof here that the system does actually work. These are a few of our clients and some of the opt-in form rates that they're seeing. So obviously it's dependent on the brand and where your traffic's coming from, but in general, we're seeing anywhere from a 10 to 20% form submit rate for brands. Some go even over that, some do a little bit under, but Neptune Blanket here, they're getting a 17.1% opt-in form rate. Stretch It Body Jewelry, just under a 10% opt-in form rate. Halen 951, an 11.3% opt-in form rate. 21 Overlays, a little bit lower, but still great nonetheless at an 8.67% opt-in rate. And these brands here, as you can see, we're using Klaviyo pop-ups, and they're doing 14% and 18.2% opt-in form rates as well. So very, very powerful. And I'm going to be covering exactly how this works. So this training, we're going to be covering how to boost the conversion of site visitors into email list subscribers. Small changes you can make to your pop-ups to increase your conversions by 100, literally to 200% without even offering any major discounts or changing your discounts. We're going to talk about how to structure the copy of your pop-ups for maximum signups, where to feature sign-up forms on your website, what offers to test on your pop-ups and why, and how to get a 10 to 20% pop-up form submit rate on cold traffic. So before we jump into the actual process of building a high converting pop-up, first things first, I want to talk about the importance for optimizing list growth. So in 2024, most brands have the basics of email marketing covered, and they're doing pretty well with capturing visitor and customer data. The real question is, how can we turn more of our site visitors into email list subscribers? The simple answer here is to boost your pop-up and opt-in form rate. Most brands these days, they throw a pop-up on their site and they never think about it twice. It converts okay, it's pretty consistent, so they let it run and they let it run forever, just as is, okay? And the best brands, and oftentimes your direct competitors, are taking the opposite approach. They're constantly testing and improving their pop-ups so they can convert a higher percentage of visitors who visit their site onto the email list. And this really doesn't seem like a high leverage thing until you actually go through and break down the numbers and actually have a look at what that looks like for your business. If you can increase your pop-up opt-in form rate by 100%, which is very achievable, we've done it countless times with some of our clients that come through, you've just now doubled the number of people you're converting onto your email list every single day. That means twice as many people are engaging with your email content, and over time this will result in twice as many sales from your email list, all from just making a few small tweaks. So the results of this usually don't show instantly. It's a process that happens gradually over time. But over time, if you can double your opt-in form rate, the goal is eventually to get your email and SMS marketing channel to become the majority revenue driver for your business and the lead revenue source for your e-commerce brand. Cool. Your email list is a marketing channel that you own, and it's an asset that your competitors cannot touch. So by focusing on improving your lead capture methods, you'll enhance your email marketing performance without even touching a single email campaign or flow. This is how powerful this is. Without touching anything else across your Klaviyo account, if you use Klaviyo, just by enhancing your form submit rate alone, you will improve the entire performance across your whole email channel. This is how powerful this stuff is. Now, I want to talk about a common thing that I hear people in the e-commerce industry say. Sometimes customers say it. This whole idea that pop-ups are annoying. I get it, trust me. Sometimes pop-ups can be a little bit intrusive if they aren't done correctly. But here's the thing, they work. And not only do they work insanely well. And your personal opinion on pop-ups actually doesn't matter. Because what you think works in marketing is pretty much irrelevant. And I want to take an example of Facebook ads here as an example. Me personally, I've never bought anything from a Facebook ad. But does that mean that they don't work? Of course not. In 2024, meta ads or Facebook ads are the backbone of just about every single e-commerce business. Just because I find them annoying and don't buy from them doesn't change the fact that they're effective. And the same goes for pop-ups. The best brands out there all use aggressive list growth strategies, and it's not hard to see why. Pop-ups convert, they grow your email list, and they boost your bottom line. That's just the fact of the situation. So let's actually create a winning pop-up together. Here I'm going to outline the exact steps that we take to craft a winning pop-up and show you sort of the order of importance when it comes to actually building a pop-up, because some elements of a pop-up definitely are more important than others. But here I'm going to show you exactly how we're getting that 10 to 20% form submit rate on cold traffic for pop-ups. So step one, we're going to be picking a pop-up builder. So there's no shortage of pop-up builders in the market, and many brand founders offer the ones built into their email service providers for convenience. So, Klaviyo pop-ups, you might use Omnisend pop-ups. Just about every single email service provider has a pop-up builder. Don't get me wrong, these tools definitely work. They're a solid choice when you're just getting started and looking to keep costs low, because, after all, every penny counts when you're building a brand from the ground up. However, once you've reached a certain level and you're ready to maximize your list growth strategies, there's a tool that we highly recommend. It's a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's definitely worth it over the long run. It's called amped.io. So it's a relatively new software, and it's been an absolute game changer for our e-commerce clients over the past 3 months. We've been moving a lot of our clients over to using the Amped software. There's a few reasons why we find that using Amped pop-ups result in higher opt-in form rates. There's more design possibility, meaning you can create better looking pop-ups that are more on brand. They have better triggering options, better targeting options, and they have great templates that allow you to create stunning and effective pop-ups with ease. And this is very, very important when we start looking at split testing our pop-ups and creating new offers. You want to be able to spin up beautiful pop-ups and beautiful variations of pop-ups relatively quickly. Okay, so everything combined here leads to more effective and higher converting pop-ups. And look, just in general, when something's working, obviously the AMP tool for us is working, we run with it. And like I said, it's been working insanely well for us. So I'd highly recommend at least giving it a go. They have a 2-week free trial. And no, I don't get paid to say any of this, or I don't have an affiliate link. This is just a genuine recommendation based on my personal experience, obviously implementing these pop-ups for our agency clients. So give their 2-week trial a go, see how you feel about it, and then after that, you can always cancel it if you're not a fan, but I can guarantee you're going to see a better sign-up form rate just by switching over to the tool called Amped. All right. Next step, we're going to be picking an offer, okay? Now, this here is the most important step in this entire process. The opt-in offer you give your new subscribers will make or break your pop-up's performance. It's not an exaggeration to say that this is 80% of the heavy lifting when it comes to pop-ups, right? This is going to be the deciding factor of whether you have a high-performing pop-up or, a crappy performing pop-up, right? It completely comes down to the offer in most cases. So, if it's the most important step, how do we go about choosing the perfect offer for your brand? Really simple. Start with something straightforward, okay? So, these 3 here are the ideas that we always sort of lead with for our clients. And then from there, obviously, we test. But this is usually our go-to starting point. So we start always with a percentage off. So, offering a discount like 10% or 15% off. For some brands, we do $1 off. Okay, so obviously instead of 10% or 15%, we might do $10, $20, so a specific dollar off amount. And in a later step, I'm just going to be covering, which one you should test first for your brand and why. And the third one there, if we don't want to do sort of any, direct discounts, free shipping is also a really good offer. So everybody loves free shipping, and offering this as a sign-up bonus can be a great way to entice subscribers. So these are our go-to, okay? If we don't know where to start, we're going to consult with our client, basically pick one of these 3 and then test from there. And then ultimately, it really just comes down to what you're comfortable with giving away in exchange for an email subscriber. And if you are sort of dead set against offering discounts because it doesn't align with your branding or you don't have the profit margins for it, something like a free guide or an ebook can be a great alternative. We do this for a few of our clients. So a great example is, let's say you run a fashion brand, doing a free lookbook, like a winter styles lookbook. If you run a supplement brand, something like 3 recipes to mix in with this supplement. Something along those lines. Okay, you can kind of get the idea. Those weren't great examples, but you start to get the idea of where we're going here. You want to give away some sort of free value or free ebook. Also a really good offer, okay? Especially if you have a market that's genuinely interested in the product that you sell and the solution that you are offering. So step 2A, so this ties into the first step. I want to talk about a percentage off versus a $1 off. Which is better, okay? The short answer is you want to test it. But if you want a general guideline and you sort of want to pick one just to start with out the gates, here's what you need to know. If your average order value or your AOV is high, so $1,000 or more, a dollar off amount is usually going to be the way to go. Why? Because the perceived value is much higher when people read it. Think about it. In this case, what sounds better, 10% off or $100 off your first purchase? Even though, if you have $1,000 AOV, okay, people are buying $1,000 products, they're technically the exact same discount. The $100 off, it just hits differently. And it's easier for people to actually visualize those savings. And on the flip side, if your brand has a lower AOV, a percentage off tends to be the better choice. Let's say you sell, a $50 product, okay? Which sounds more appealing in this case? 10% off or $5 off? In this case, the 10% off feels like a bigger deal, okay? But, at the end of the day, you're not going to know for sure until you test it. So if you are going to start running with a dollar off or a percentage off relatively quickly, you want to open up a split test and then obviously test a percentage off versus the dollar off. And with pop-ups, as with everything in marketing, it's all just about testing and tweaking the offer until you find the sweet spot and then the offer that really resonates with your audience. But as a general rule, when you're starting out, start with this, okay? High AOV, go dollar off. Lower AOV, go percentage off, okay? Nice little rule there. Next step, we're going to be talking about the sequence. So this is the different steps within the pop-up, okay? So the order on which things show, the order on which you're asking for information. This here is the second most important step in the process next to the offer. And many brands get it wrong. Keep this in mind. The goal with the step sequence, okay, or the steps that you're showing on your pop-up, isn't to get as much information as possible, okay? It's going to hurt your sign-up form rate. And here's an example of a really bad pop-up, okay? So there's a few things wrong here, but the main thing is they're just asking for too many fields, right? If someone's opened this, I've got to enter my phone number and my email. What's this box? You know what I mean? It's just an extra box here. It doesn't need to be there. It's just too many steps. Okay, they're asking for too many things at once, and the offer's not clear enough either. That's another thing, but the offer here isn't clear enough, okay? Right. So like I said, there are many issues with this form, okay? Asking for too many input fields, blah, blah, blah. This is why having a great step sequence is super important. It should lead your customer through the steps you want them to take, okay? Keep that in mind. It should lead your customer through the steps that you want them to take. So what's the best step sequence? Again, something to test, but this is where we start with clients. This is what we see works best. Step one, you want a yes/no question, also known as a micro commitment. So this stage is very important. The goal here is to get the visitor to express interest in receiving an offer before you even ask them for any information. So by not requesting details up front, the percentage of people who will click to receive the offer will be much higher compared to obviously just saying, hey, give me your email address straight away. So here's an example of that yes/no question. So you'll notice here, we're not collecting any information. We're saying, hey, you've got 30% off. Click here to claim it. Okay, now obviously the copy is very good here as well. But even just looking at the step, not asking for any information, basically saying, here, do you want a discount? Or you've got this discount, and then asking them to click to claim it. The psychology here is simple. When you don't ask for any information, people are more likely to agree to actually receive the offer. And then once they've committed to that, a higher percentage of those individuals will provide their email address on the next step. So in essence, by breaking up the process into smaller, less intimidating steps, you're more likely to increase your overall sign-up form rate. Okay, and that brings us to the next step here, which is now we're asking for their email. So again, this page is very straightforward. The only information requested here is the email address, okay? On the second step, you don't want to, bombard them and ask for an SMS number and their first name and all that crap, okay? Keep it simple. Just ask for their email on this step. If you want to ask for additional sort of pieces of information, you can do that in later steps. But in general, fewer fields, okay, is less friction, okay? And we like to stick to one field per step. That's very, very important, okay? Keep the copy on this page very minimal as well. And you want to ensure a seamless flow from step one to step two. I'm just going to highlight that there. So when someone opts into the micro commitment, okay, up here, the email field should appear naturally without the appearance of a new page loading. Okay, you want to keep the same image. You want to keep relatively the same copy. you almost just want the email field just to slide in here. Okay, there should be no delay on the page loading, and it shouldn't look like it's taken them to a whole new step. It should just be a nice seamless flow. The email should just appear there when they click and opt into that micro commitment. Okay, very small detail, like I said, but this can make a significant impact on your conversion rate. So here's an example. So as you can see, first step, hey, you've got 30% off, click here to claim. They click, and the email just pops up in there. Okay, the copy stays the same, the image stays the same. It's a very seamless, a very congruent process. Okay, then obviously they enter their email address, and obviously always give people the option to X out of your pop-up as well. It can absolutely kill your conversion rates if you don't give them the option to X out. Okay, make it very, very easy for them to understand what they have to do in order to close the pop-up. Okay, people get annoyed. People get very, very annoyed when you make this very small, or they, even if they have to think about it for 2 seconds. How do I get rid of this thing? Okay, they're going to get pissed off. They're going to swipe off, and they're just going to bounce. Okay, make it very easy for them to close the pop-up if they don't want to submit their information. That's absolutely fine. So once they've submitted, ideally, the next step is the SMS opt-in. Okay, so like I said, this is where you ask for SMS information, and it's important to note here as well. No matter how well crafted this step is, there's always going to be drop-off on the SMS step. Okay. And it's going to be a pretty significant drop-off as well. And that's okay. Okay, the goal is obviously to optimize the amount of signups we're getting. But, keep in mind there always is going to be that drop-off, and that's absolutely fine because SMS is a very personal channel. And, many consumers, probably like you and me, are hesitant to give out their phone number to unfamiliar brands that they encounter online. So keep that in mind. The email offer should be delivered instantly. So even if the visitors drop off at the SMS step, they still receive the welcome email with the offer. However, obviously you want to maximize it. The way we do this is usually by writing really persuasive copy. So there's 2 approaches that we like to take here. So in this document, obviously I've outlined one, but there's really 2 things that we like to do. So the first step, the one that I've outlined here in this document, is to frame this step as the final step that they have to complete to claim their code. Make it seem like a necessary action that they have to take in order to receive the offer, even though usually it's technically not. So the copy here is the most important part. So as you can see, the copy was saying, finish signing up with text to activate your 30% off discount. Okay, so like I said, we're framing it as the final step that they have to take in order to claim their code. This works very, very well, and the copy is very important on this step too. The second option with the SMS step, and this usually works best for brands offering a lower discount for email, is to give them a little bit more to sign up to the SMS step, right? So if you're offering it 10% on your email signups, okay, on the next step, say, hey, upgrade your code to 15% and get that delivered to your SMS inbox straight away, whatever, okay, or text me my code or something like that. But offering a little bit more for the SMS sign up often works really well to convert people that have previously signed up to email. Okay, so there's 2 kind of approaches you can take there. First approach, which we usually use for our clients, is just frame it as the final step in claiming the offer. And the second approach, obviously, is giving them a little bit more if they want to come over and give their SMS information as well. All right. Keep the copy concise, like with the email step. Okay, they should be able to skim over it and read it very quickly, and make sure it's focused on the benefit they'll receive by providing their information. Okay, that's very important. You don't want to overload your pop-up here with information. Obviously, with the legal text as well, which is very important. Make sure you have your legal text in there. Tools like AMP are automatically going to pop that in there for you. Just make sure everything's linked up correctly to your terms and your privacy policy. Very important. Alrighty, so that brings us to step 4. Very simple step, okay? It's the code delivery. And thank you. A lot of brands also get this wrong, so it is very important to cover the best way to approach this. So let's jump into it. Here's what I recommend. You want to include a dynamic section that displays the unique discount code and allow visitors to easily copy it directly from the pop-up form. Now, the next one's also very important because this is probably where I see brands stuff up the most. You don't want to send them off-site. Okay, don't send them away. Say, hey, check your email inbox. Okay, they're on your site. They clicked onto your site. You've worked so hard to get that visitor on the site. And, brands these days are just going, oh, yeah, cool. Thanks for email information. Okay, jump off the site now and go check your inbox. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you've just worked so hard to get the person on the site, and now you're sending them off the site to go claim a discount code. And even worse, some brands do that and they don't even send the welcome email straight away. So they're sending their customers, okay, off the site to claim their code to their inbox, and they get to the inbox and the code isn't even there. So many brands do this. It's ridiculous. Like literally, I'd probably go as far as say 50% of the brands that I'm having a look at or doing audits for are doing this. It's ridiculous. They don't think about the flow. They don't think about the customer journey, and they're absolutely just like axe murdering their conversion rates. It's ridiculous. So don't make this crucial mistake. Please do not make this crucial mistake. You want to keep them on the site, okay? Give them the code there and there, and give them the option to copy it, okay? And after presenting the code, include a button on the form that allows them to return to the site seamlessly. This keeps visitors engaged with your brand, and it increases the likelihood of a purchase, okay? Like with every single step on the pop-up, the last step we should be telling them exactly what to do as well. Okay, now that we've given them the code, we don't just like say heads off and go, okay, cool, up to you now. Have a button there, takes them back to the site, okay? The last step should still lead them through the process, just like every other step does prior. Okay, very important. Remember, the goal here is to keep visitors on your site and make it as easy as possible for them to use the discount code. Do not send them away from the site. This will significantly decrease your site conversion rate and disrupt the shopping experience as well. One thing I want to add to this too is turn off double opt-in, okay? If you're using Klaviyo, they automatically check an option called double opt-in, which means when someone signs up to your list, they get another email that says, hey, you sure you want to sign up? And they have to click that again to get the code. Turn it off. All right? Like, it's just insane to me. So many brands stuff this up. So many brands get this wrong, and they're just absolutely tanking their conversion rate because of it, okay? Especially if you have a great offer, okay? If you're willing to give away such a great offer, okay, people aren't going to shop without it. They're not gonna say, it's just 30% off. Yeah, I didn't get the email, we'll leave it. No. If they don't get the email, you're telling them to check their email, they're not buying anything. They're just bouncing, and they're probably never gonna come back. So make sure you deliver the code right there and then have a button to take them back to the site. Super important. All right. Ooh, got me fired up. All right, next step. Let's talk about pop-up design and provenance. Right? So if you're using a pop-up builder like Amped or a similar tool, creating a visually appealing pop-ups with great user experience, it's pretty straightforward, because these tools like Amped, you can choose one of their pre-existing templates and then basically just customize the styles, okay? So your buttons, your colors, your fonts to match your branding. And this is actually one of the main reasons I'm such a big fan of Amped. And, having tried dozens of different pop-up builders, I can confidently say that Amped pop-ups are by far the most visually impressive, and it's not even close. It's not even close. Now, obviously styles are important. Simplicity is also key when it comes to pop-up design, and even more important than the visual elements is this idea of prominence. Okay, so I want to talk about prominence. What exactly is prominence? Well, in essence, it's how you structure and prioritize the different elements within a pop-up. So a few examples. How large is your text? Is it easy for visitors to understand the offer? How big is the form submit rate compared to the close form button? All of these factors here contribute to the overall conversion of your pop-up. All right. So I'm going to give you a few tips to ensure your pop-up has the right prominence and you prioritize the right elements. So a few key points. Make your offer text large and clear, ensuring it's the first thing visitors notice. This is another place I see brands stuffing up, okay? So many brands struggle with this. And it's not even just in their pop-ups, it's throughout their entire email marketing efforts. As a general rule, if you're offering any kind of discounts for signing up, make sure the offer is crystal clear and easy to read. It should be the very first thing your visitors see when your pop-up appears. In no world should they have to go through and read your body copy or search for your offer, okay? Especially if you're doing a really great offer. You got like 30% off like we saw before, free shipping, okay? That should be the first thing that they see. You should directly communicate the benefit as fast as you possibly can and sort of make a compelling case for why they should actually, come through and sign up. Place it in the most obvious, prominent location so that it's impossible to miss. This will ensure that your offer captures their attention immediately and encourages them to take action. So a really great example here from the Essence Vault. Okay, now this pop-up here isn't the best example of great design, but they've done a good job with the prominence. Notice how your eyes are instantly drawn to the 20% off offer, okay? There's no question about what the visitor is going to receive when they come through and sign up. So they've done a great job here. The design could definitely be better, but you know, the 20% off here is generally speaking the biggest text element here on the pop-up, which is great. Now, the next thing when it comes to prominence is you want to make sure that the color contrasts, the button color, the submit button color contrasts with the rest of the styles. So when designing pop-ups, making the button color different from the rest of the pop-up is crucial. This contrast helps it stand out and grab the visitor's attention and guides them through the next steps. Okay, so think about it like this. When you're looking at a pop-up, your eyes are going to naturally gravitate towards the element that looks different. And so by using a contrasting color for the button, you're making it super easy for people to spot and click. Okay, very simple, straightforward. Very general marketing tip is just make your CTAs a different color to every single other element on the page, or the pop-up, or the email, you know, wherever you have a call to action. Now, it's not just about the color either. Size also matters. Okay, the button should be large enough to be easily clickable without overwhelming the core copy. Okay, so you want to have it nice and big, right? So that, you know, you can actually, you know, see it and it's very clear what the person has to do. But also, you don't want to make it too big where it actually takes away from, you know, the rest of the elements on the pop-up. Okay, so a large prominent button reduces friction, makes it crystal clear, like we asked, like we talked about. They don't have to hunt around or squint to find it. It's right there. It's ready to be clicked. Okay, so a great example of a really good pop-up from Mr. Beast brand Feastables. Okay, so we've got a nice, bright, contrasting button here. Okay, they could make it a little bit bigger. That's probably something that I would improve with this pop-up. But in general, they've done a great job here. And even though they're not actually giving away anything in this pop-up, okay, they're not giving a discount to free shipping or anything, I think this is honestly better because obviously Mr. Beast is such a large household name. The people that are on this site know exactly who Mr. Beast is. So that almost is the offer in itself. It's like, hey, Mr. Beast wants you on the list. So, okay, cool, dude. Like, let me just jump on. Okay, so they don't really have to get too crafty with offers or anything like that. It's like, hey, hear more from Mr. Beast. These people love Mr. Beast. Okay, so him in itself is the offer. Okay, so I absolutely love what they've done here with this pop-up. I think it's a great offer, great design. I know for a fact that they're using an AMP pop-up because I know what those templates look like, and they're a case study on AMP's website. Yeah, this is really great. The next thing I want to talk about in regards to prominence is how big to make the pop-up. So in general, they should take up 75% of the screen, and that's on mobile and desktop. Okay. Now I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that annoying having a big, massive pop-up that covers the whole screen? And it is a fair question. I understand it, but here's the thing, and I want you to think about it like this way. Having a smaller pop-up can actually be even more frustrating because it's small enough that you probably won't bother reading the copy, but it's big enough that you still have to click off it to keep browsing. And on the other hand, with, you know, a big full-page pop-up or a 75% page pop-up, you're giving your offer the spotlight it deserves, okay? It's impossible to ignore, and the user has to make that conscious decision to either engage with it or close it, okay? So many pop-ups I see are so tiny, okay? People aren't even going to read them. They're just going to click off it, okay? And it's just basically annoyed them. At least with a full page pop-up, you're highlighting the offer very, very clearly, okay? You're showing them the offer, and they have to make that conscious decision to click off, right? So, you know, by having a full page pop-up or a 75% pop-up, you've got plenty of room, you know, to craft great copy and have an eye-catching design as well, like Mr. Beast has done here with his Feastables pop-up. Okay, because there's just nothing worse than squeezing your message into a tiny box. Okay, have it nice and big. Okay, have your offer very, very clear. This is going to be the best way to convert as many people onto your email list. And the final thing I want to talk about here is keeping the design on brand and fresh. Okay, consistency is key when it comes to your marketing, and that includes your pop-ups as well. Make sure they seamlessly blend with your website by using the same colors, fonts, styles, and layouts. Okay. And I'm sure everyone's seen pop-ups, and you might even have a pop-up right now that looks completely out of place, like it was just slapped together as an afterthought. Okay, yeah, that'll do. You know, we've used one of Klaviyo's really basic templates, but, you know, it works, so we're just going to chuck it on there. It's a big no-no, okay? You want to create a cohesive user experience that builds trust and encourages engagement, okay? Make sure it's cohesive, it's congruent. It shouldn't look out of place, okay? You should follow the exact colors, the exact styles, the exact fonts, okay, as the rest of your site and all of your emails as well. So tools like Amped, like I said, make this super easy to create pop-ups that perfectly match your brand style. They've done the hard work for you, so all you need to do is basically plug in your elements, and you've got a pop-up that looks like it was just made for your site. Okay. Remember, a pop-up that feels like a natural part of your website is more likely to grab attention and get results. It's not just about looking good, it's about creating a seamless experience for your visitors. And I want to check out some examples I've attached to see what I mean. And you'll see that the pop-ups blend with the overall design really clearly. So that actually wraps up the video here in terms of the content. But what I've gone and included here is a swipe file of some really great pop-ups that I love. So you can go through and have a look at that. When you're crafting your own pop-ups, you can use it for some ideas. But I hope you got some value out of this video. Now, what I'm also going to do as well is down the bottom of this document. Okay, so if you actually click onto this document and go through and read the full thing for yourself, I'm also going to attach a video here of me in real time building this Neptune blanket pop-up that you see here. I've recorded myself doing it. I'm going to attach it here so you can have a look. I think it literally takes me 5-10 minutes to put this together. And this is one of the pop-ups, I think. Let me just go back up to the top. Let's do this. Yeah, so this pop-up's converting at 17%. I'm not kidding when I said it took me 10 minutes to build. So I'm going to attach that video here. You can go through and watch it. And maybe keep it open alongside you building your own pop-up within AMP. Like I said, hope you got some value out of this video. If you do have any questions, DM me, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'll put both of those in the description below. And yes, let me know if you have any questions, if you want any help. You know where to go, strikecopy.com. Book a call. We can chat about your email and retention marketing. If not, that is cool too. I hope you got some value. And stay tuned for the next one.